Hi everyone, welcome to the Fangirl Forum. Put on your comfiest merch, grab a drink, and get cozy as we dive into the fangirl world. So this episode is basically just going to be an introduction, be all about me, how I got my fangirl start, if you will, where I'm at now. As you can see, the fangirl never left. So I am the host, Amanda. I've been a fangirl for as long as I can remember, and I know that term has some crazy negative connotations now because if you're a girl and you like something, it's weird. But my first experience with being a fangirl was in 2007. And I don't know if you can remember what was very relevant 2007, but it was the Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers were like my taste of the fangirl world, if you will. And I was obsessed. It was everything to me. I was obsessed with Camp Rock. I loved Joe Jonas. Fully thought he was going to see me at his concert and fall in love with me, and then we would get married. I was 7. Don't hold that thought against me. The Jonas Brothers kind of let me dip my foot into what would eventually become such a bigger part of my life. And that bigger part of my life came in 2010. And I don't know if you know what happened in 2010, if you remember what happened in 2010, because it was very much 13 years ago. But One Direction was formed on the X Factor. And I had a cousin, I have a cousin who lives in the UK, and she posted a picture on Facebook of them, and I lost my mind. I looked at the picture. I was like, I don't know who that blonde boy is, but I like him, and he's everything to me. So that one Facebook post really changed my life forever. I immediately went on YouTube and searched up One Direction funny moments, which was how a lot of One Direction fans got roped in. I immediately fell in love. And the blonde one, aka Niall Horan, was my favorite. No questions asked. That little YouTube search proved that to me. So I was 10 at this point, and I was desperately looking for something. Not even like consciously looking for something, but I was looking for something that I needed, because school had become a very negative and toxic environment for me. I was bullied all the time. I was bullied before I found One Direction as well, but when I found One Direction and when I watched those videos, I felt something that I had never felt before up until that point, and I felt safe, and I felt like I belonged in something. So I latched on to One Direction, and I did not let go. It quickly, and I mean quickly, became my entire personality. Every Christmas from the time that I was 11 until I was 15, 16, I got everything One Direction related. Everything. And I was not complaining. To this day, I still have a One Direction lamp, a One Direction alarm clock, all of my old One Direction tour tees, DVDs, books, vinyls. You name it, I probably had it. Christmas of 2011, my parents hand me an envelope, and they go, "They're terrible seats because this is a phase, and you are gonna get over this." So I open the envelope. I'm like, oh my God, what could that mean? I open the envelope. It's tickets to see One Direction, their very first North American tour. It was tickets to see them May 31st, 2012 at the Up All Night tour in Toronto at Budweiser stage, which at the time was the Molson Canadian Amphitheater, but now it's Budweiser, so I'll call it that. And oh boy, I cried, sobbed even. I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, Niall's gonna see me from the grass at Budweiser, and like we're gonna fall in love. I had a theme when I was younger. I thought Joe Jonas was gonna fall in love with me, and then I thought Niall Horan was gonna fall in love with me. Neither happened, but kept me going, so it's fine. I took the day off school because I think it was like a Tuesday, if I recall correctly. It may not have been a Tuesday. I don't remember. But I took the day off school. I remember that part. And we went down to Budweiser. And it was my first, like, I went to see the Jonas Brothers in 2008. And that was a big moment for me. But this was a very new phenomenon in my life. Like, I was fully invested in this band in a way that I wasn't with the Jonas Brothers. So it was a big deal for me. It was a big deal. It was a very big moment in my little life. I was very excited, and obviously I was 11, so I couldn't afford to pay for merch myself, but my mother came with me, and she bought me a t-shirt and bracelets, and I went to school the next day, tour shirt on, bracelets up and down my arm, and I was ready to go. I still have that tour shirt, by the way. But what little 11-year-old Amanda did not realize is that wearing that shirt and those bracelets the next day at school would create something so vicious. I went to school the next day. I was so excited. I was like, I just saw One Direction. Like I was in my element. And all of the boys in my class were like, ew, you're weird. Why are you wearing that? They're not even good. They're not even that, like, they actually suck. You're a loser. And looking back on it now, I don't know why it hurt my feelings, but I was 11. So, but yeah, it hurt a lot. And from that point forward, I was known as the One Direction girl. I was known as the One Direction girl before I went to the show, but after it got to a whole new level. It like catapulted to a new level. Everyone would tease me for liking them. I was called weird. I was called a loser. You name it, I was probably called it. And from that point on, I was ashamed in what I liked. Like I was still very open about the fact that I liked One Direction, and I wasn't going to hide it. But outside of school, if anyone asked me like what my interests were, I wouldn't say anything, and that has been drilled into me. Even now, when I like go to a new job or something, and they're like, "Oh, what do you enjoy? Like, who do you listen to?" It takes me a second to like get up the courage to say what I want to say, because I was constantly told that what I liked was weird and that it wasn't normal to like something that amount, and that it was cringy. So it took me a very long time to kind of realize that no, it's not cringy that you like something. And it's especially not cringy that you like something that saved your life. Period. You like what you like, you love what you love, and that's all there is to it. So I became the One Direction girl. And I vividly remember I went on a trip with my mom to New York City. And it was at the same time that Office Depot was doing a collab with One Direction for school supplies. And I was like, Mom, I don't have money. I think I was like 13 or 14, so I still couldn't work. I was like, Mom, I don't have money, but please buy me a notebook and some pens. Please. It's my one shot, because they didn't ship to Canada. They weren't in Canada. It was my one shot. I was like, Mom, please. She slayed. She got me this notebook and some pens. And I used this at school for a very long time. 1D plus Office Depot together against bullying. Because I was bullied for liking them, so I find that very ironic. But, yeah. Got this. I was so excited for pieces of paper with Niall's face on it, but I was so excited. And funny enough, actually, I'm literally using this for my university classes right now. So, full circle. Full circle. March 25th, 2015 rolls around, and if you are a One Direction fan, or if you are a One Direction fan, that date has some relevance for you. That is the day that Zayn left One Direction, and that is the day that my world, as I knew it, crumbled, which is so dramatic. It's so dramatic, but my safe space and the one thing that had been consistent for 5 years at this point in my life, the thing that I knew it as, crumbled, and it was no longer that thing. So I went home and I was sobbing my eyes out. I was so distraught, and my mom was like, "You do know that he didn't die, right? Like, he's still alive. He just left a band." And I was like, "But it feels like he did." And I was very dramatic as a 15-year old. I was 14 at the time, actually. I was very dramatic as a 14-year-old. I had very bad mental health issues that I didn't know how to process. And I don't do well with change, even to this day. So that change altered something in my brain. It was crazy thinking back on it now. But he left the band. Zayn left the band. And the next day at school, because I was known as the One Direction girl in my high school as well, everyone was like, "Oh my God, did you hear Zayn left?" Like, yes, I heard that Zayn left. Shut up. And then everyone was like, "Oh my God. Oh my God. Your band sucks. Like, they can't even keep members." And it was just relentless. And I was already grieving. I was grieving the loss of something that I knew that was no longer the same thing. So that was a little wild. It's got me tickets to see One Direction on their On the Road Again tour, which we now know would be their last ever tour in 2015. And it was after Zayn had left. But this concert was the first concert that I had been to that I was on the floor. And I think my brain was about to explode because I was so close. Like, I could see them without having to, like, zoom in on my iPod. I could see them with my own eyes, like, right in front of me. I wasn't all the way in the back. I was like 20 rows away from the stage. Like, I was on the floor. I was in the mix. I was so excited. And that was my biggest moment of my life from that point. It was everything to me, and I'm very grateful that my parents got me those tickets, because One Direction's popularity had skyrocketed rather quickly, and those ticket prices were probably not cheap. I honestly don't even know how much they were going for because I was freshly 15 and didn't really know a whole lot about money. But I was very grateful that I got to go. And once again, I still have that tour shirt too, sitting in my closet. I have an emotional attachment to all of my One Direction stuff, so that's never ever leaving me, I'm afraid. Like, I literally still wear a One Direction perfume, which I don't really know if that's sanitary. I don't really know if, like, I should be doing that, but I am. So One Direction was like my overwhelming, all-encompassing fangirl start, if you will. I don't know if you can tell by my wall, but Niall and Harry are still very, very big parts of my life. 12-year-old me knew that I was actually going to meet Niall. I think my brain would have exploded. I think I would have had heart palpitations. Like, it would have been a sight to see. But I've luckily been able to meet Niall 3 times, and he is very much the reason that I'm sitting here. And I got him to write out a tattoo for me, so I have his handwriting on my body forever, and I'm very happy about that, actually. And yeah, so I think it's very important to look at your past self and your building blocks of who you are now with compassion, because I was very hard on myself growing up. I took everything that everyone said to me, and I took it to heart, and I let it affect me for a very long time. And I'm still in the process of learning how to become unashamed of the things that I like, because you say you're a fangirl, and suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, you're a weirdo," even though it literally just means that you love something or someone. Um, you love art that people make, and I think it's very weird that people spend so much of their time putting other people down for the things that they enjoy. And so I think that's important to talk about, especially as a fangirl, because if anyone out there listening is like me, then I know that you have probably been too hard on yourself and you've taken some of those words to heart. But I promise you, it is not weird to like something. It's not. My main fandoms, as of right now, is Niall Horan, Harry Styles, and 5 Seconds of Summer. Obviously, I like more than just the three of them, but those are like my main ones. Um, yeah, I have 5 shows planned to see Niall next year, and that's going to be a topic of one of my future episodes. I'm going to be bringing on one of my friends, and we're going to be talking about why we go to see more than one show tour. Because in the fangirl world, it has become a discourse to talk about why people go to see more than one show and how it's taking away chances from other people, and we'll get into that in one of the future episodes. The next episode that you guys are going to be seeing is going to be me with my best friend Emma, and we met because of 5 Seconds of Summer, so we're going to be talking about that, and kind of our experience with it. And then one of our other episodes is going to be me with another friend that I met through Niall Horan. And we're going to be talking about marketing plans, actually, because Niall's team specifically does this wonderful thing where they push the album until the album comes out, and then they go, "Yep, that's good. We're done." And we have so many ideas on what they can do after the album's actually out. And we know we spend so much time immersed in Niall and his music, and we have ideas that we want to see, because we obviously want to see him succeed. So I'll be talking about that with her, and then the last episode of this series, this season, if you would will be me deep diving into Stan Twitter, and I don't know. Um, I guess it would be called Stan X now, but I'm not going to be calling it X because it doesn't sound right to me, so it's still going to be called Stan Twitter. Sorry. Um, but if you don't know much about it, stick around. That'll be one of our future episodes. Now that we're not strangers, I hope that I see you at the next episode. It's not weird to like what you want to like. It is a very normal thing to like what people do and to like art and music, and you're not weird for liking it. So that is your reminder at the end of all of these. I'm going to be reminding you that it is okay to like what you like, and we are going to be unlearning what we have been told for most of our lives. It's not weird. You're not weird. It's a very normal thing to do, and you don't have to feel ashamed of what you like. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.